Today is a very special day for both film fans and horror fans as a whole. Why? Well, to put it simply, today is the 100th anniversary of the theatrical release of the oldest surviving Dracula film. And what film is that, you may ask? Well, it's none other than a gem of the silent era from 1922, simply known as Nosferatu, a Symphony of Horror. Let me take you back to a time in the 1920s when film was strictly a visual medium with no sound to speak of, only visuals and title cards. And during this time period, many of the most influential films of all time were made. Many of these films being made by people in Germany with an art movement known as German Expressionism, which is basically an art form where the German artist, whoever he is, would distort reality in a way to express their own inner feelings and ideas over replicating reality. And Nosferatu is one of these many films, even though it uses less German Expressionism than many German Expressionist films. It was shot on real locations in Germany and using a castle in Slovakia, and many of the locations that were used for the film are still there today. The film was an independent production, produced by Aubin Grau and his production company Prana Film, and directed by F.W. Murnau. And it was an unlicensed adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula. Unlicensed in the fact that they could not secure the rights to the book from Stoker's estate. So when making the film, they changed many of the locations and names of the characters. For example, Jonathan became Hutter, Renfield became Knock, Mina became Ellen, and Dracula became Orlok. The film premiered on March 4th, 1922, not in a movie theater, but as an event at the Berlin Zoo, followed by a masked ball costume party dubbed the Festival of Nosferatu. And it was then released theatrically exactly 100 years ago today, on March 15th, 1922. What I really love about this film are its visuals. From Count Orlok's rise from the grave to his shadow on the wall, and even just his physical appearance alone. The images in this film, even a century later, are still something to behold. And yeah, Orlok's appearance is still somewhat disturbing even now. I mean, come on, just look at him.
It's so frightening. Well, for one thing, Dracula is so evil, he's disgusting, and he's a plague spreader. And he looks like a rat. There's nothing suave about him.
And that's all thanks to one man, Max Schreck, the actor playing Count Orlok. He does a phenomenal job playing this character. Because you gotta remember, these were the days before Bela Lugosi's Dracula. So they were the days before Dracula got the familiar look that we're all used to. And that only makes Schreck's performance all the more incredible. In fact, there's a rumor that says the reason Schreck's performance is so convincing is because he was an actual vampire. No, he was just a really good method actor. This concept of Schreck being an actual vampire was turned into the 2000 film starring John Malkovich and Willem Dafoe, Shadow of a Vampire, that takes a fictionalized look behind the making of Nosferatu. This film also has some really great editing tricks for the time. Like, look at that. How do you do that in the 1920s? The other crazy character in this film is Knock, who's basically Renfield. And yeah, while I do very much prefer Dwight Frye's portrayal of Renfield, Knock's scenes in this film are also very enjoyable. Now, of course, Nosferatu is such an iconic film now, even a century later, that it's hard to believe that the film was actually nearly destroyed. But when this film first came out, that's exactly what happened. I mentioned earlier that this film was an unlicensed adaptation of Bram Stoker's novel with all the names and locations changed. However, when Florence Balcom, Bram Stoker's widow, found out about the film's existence, she actually sued Prana Film for copyright infringement and won. After she won the case, all prints of the film were destroyed, or so she thought, because in 1929 the film was re-released. And then it was thought to be lost for a while until the 1960s, where it was rediscovered and eventually fell into the public domain. And this public domain version being the only viewable version of the film for a while, being released on numerous VHS bootlegs. The film has been touched up and restored over the past few decades, but it wasn't until 2013 when Kino Lorber and Eureka Entertainment released the film on Blu-ray, where they have restored and remastered it all. And the end result is simply marvelous. And for many Nosferatu fans, it is wonderful to finally see this film in such high definition, especially with the original color tinting. Nosferatu has even entered popular culture at large. I'm sure everybody has seen the ending to the SpongeBob episode Graveyard Shift.
Nosferatu!
And of course, I cannot end this video without mentioning the fact that this film literally invented the trope of a vampire being vanquished by sunlight. A trope that has been a part of vampire lore for over a century now, and pretty much forever. I've even referenced a couple of shots in this film in the recent teaser trailer to Insanity. And yeah, while plenty of other silent films out there, like Cabinet of Dr. Caligari and Phantom of the Opera, were revolutionary in their own right, Nosferatu, a symphony of horror now being a century-year-old, now deserves to be celebrated alongside with them. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do. If you want to watch this film for yourself, you can hunt down a copy of the film's Blu-ray, or you can just look up one of the many versions that have been uploaded all over the internet. High quality or not. I'm Abraham Stoker, and thank you for listening.